Yeah, hey, blind guy doing stuff here, and I'm going to make a quick video on something I'm hearing around on the radio and the TV more and more, and that is the Republican Party using the word choice. And they use it, and this is a lot of different words. I would encourage anybody watching this to really start paying attention to the way people speak. When you hear certain words repeated, kind of take note of that word and then kind of look and see what they're doing with it. And choice is one of those words. And they use choice in the context, they want to use choice and they want to tie it into the word freedom. Because Americans have been conditioned that freedom is a good thing, and of course it is a good thing. And choice, they've conditioned everybody to think, oh well, choice is the end all of everything. We want choice before everything. Well, frankly, I want quality before choice. And they're using this in the context of schools and healthcare. That's where I'm hearing this a lot. So let's start. Let's kind of put so in, let's start with healthcare. So healthcare, they want to get rid of Obamacare, of course, which by the way has choices. If you ever been into the Obamacare marketplace, there are choices. Um, and so they're wanting to get rid of the healthcare, and they want to use the word. Well, you have to have choice, and they love that word choice. I keep saying that. You just hear it over and over again. Well, why? Why do we need healthcare choices? How about this? Instead of having healthcare choices and having people choose their healthcare, let's just make all the healthcare really, really good, and there's not really a choice to be made. You either have good healthcare or you just don't have healthcare. We want a country where everybody has it. We don't want people to have to choose. I'm not a doctor. I'm not someone who studies insurance law. I don't want to choose healthcare. I just want to say, okay, I need healthcare. I want good healthcare. Sign me up. So that's my opinion on why necessarily we don't really want choice in healthcare. Now let's talk about schools. Schools, here we go again. The word choice in school is code for charter schools. And charter schools are not good. Some say they are ways to break public education system. We can talk about why people want the public education system broken. And others say that charter schools are there to take the money and enrich a, a, a board of directors and a CEO from public money. I sort of lean towards that second one because you get a charter school and you get your board of directors and you have what's called privatized the money and made the risk public. And in this case, with charter schools, the public risk is paying for it and your kids. So you are risking your kid's education by putting your kid in a charter school because you just don't know what's going on with these things, and they're not regulated as much. So that's what they mean by school choice or charter schools. And just like healthcare, why do we want a choice for our schools? How about we just make all the schools good, and then there's no choice? You don't need to choose, nor do you have the desire to choose something different because it's just good from the very beginning. But we can't do that in America with schools because then we would sort of overthrow an entire regime of white supremacy when it comes to schools. That is why we have the local schools are funded by local property taxes to keep the African American neighborhood schools down and keep the more Caucasian white schools up. That is the reason. Look it up. And so that's why the public schools have been breaking, and that's why you have neighborhoods with bad schools. Now, it used to be this was not a problem because all the white people lived on one side of the town and all the minorities lived on the other side of the town. So nobody really worried about the bad schools over there on the other side of town because there was just not a problem. But now, as urbanization has kicked in, the mixing of the races because of segregation is over, people are living in different neighborhoods. People are living here and people are living over across town. They're moving into neighborhoods that might not have a good school. You have gentrification. So you move into an area, you are moving into an area where all the minorities are getting moving out and more affluent white people are moving in because of property taxes. Well, maybe the neighborhood school at the moment is not good because it has low property taxes and it's been a bad school. Well, Republicans say instead of making that school better for everybody, you get a choice. And here's the problem with choice. It's a false choice. because only some people get the choice. In the case of healthcare, if you have more money, you can choose. You can choose the not so good plan, the medium plan, the really good plan, or the really great plan. Well, if you're poor and you don't have any money, you don't have a choice. You get the bad plan or no plan at all. Same with schools. If you have money to move, if you have money to drive your kid across town, if you have the resources to get your kid in as far as supplies to get your kid into a charter school, then there you go. You get a choice. But if you're a low-income person and you have no transportation, you can't get across town, let's say your kid has a learning disability, they've been a problem in school perhaps because of the effects of poverty on their life, you don't have a choice. You're stuck there in that school that they are defunding, that their teacher has 30 kids in the class, that is being broken because the property taxes are going down because nobody owns a house. Fewer people own houses these days. It's a whole big snowball effect. So you don't have a choice. So it's a false choice. So just beware. When you hear that word choice, and it's one of the Republican words that they have basically branded to mean freedom, and they use it for it's a brainwashing technique. They have coded this word to mean certain things. That when you hear it, that by using images and words, repeated phrases over and over and over and over and over again, when you hear the word choice, people's mind sort of gets to turning, and a lot of people's mind get to turning in the same direction. Again, basically because of brainwashing. It's these coded words, and they use them all the time. I would encourage people watching this, and Democrats use it too. They have their code words too. So I would encourage people to pay attention when you start seeing a politician or the news, especially the news, because the politicians kind of leak this stuff to the news, and you can really get you can kind of predict the future and see where things are going by listening out for these words. And so when you hear words the politicians are saying match up with words that are in the media, start paying attention to those words, and you can really see where the public policy is really going. Because honestly, it's sort of off topic, the idea that we live in a democracy and that things are governed by the people is really a facade. And you can and that's really cynical to say, but you can see it in the media and you can see it in the Congress just simply by the words and the language they use. You can watch and you know which direction it's going. So that's a little bit of word about choice. That's a little bit about the media today. So I am the Blind Guy Doing Stuff. Thank you for folks subscribing. We got some new subscribers, and check it out. I have an upcoming series I'm starting to research on how to get medical marijuana in all the states that have them. I'm going to do a series on that, and that's coming up. So keep an eye out on that. I am the Blind Guy Doing Stuff, and we'll have some more up on Trump and other things. And have a good one. Bye-bye.
Studio mode. Stop recording button.